Hey, I'm Jared Clemens from Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Hello, this is Luis Alberto Grisolia from Miami.
I'm Dylan Schindler from Asbury Park.
I am Amber Johnny from Miami.
Hello, I'm Chris Joseph Stancato.
And this is Local Sounds Podcast.
Local Sounds
And
Podcast.
this is the Local Sounds
and
Podcast.
You're listening to the Local Sounds
And
Podcast.
this is the Local Sounds Podcast.
My friend Taylor Davis.
This is my good friend Taylor Davis.
With my friend Taylor Davis.
With my great
With my friend
Taylor Davis.
Good evening, my friends. This is Taylor Davis coming to you from my studio here in Miami, Florida. I just want to take a moment and say thank you for joining us for episode 1 of this limited edition podcast special, Local Sound. Now, the genesis point of this podcast really came from a question I get asked all the time. What are you listening to? What's new on your playlist? And who's capturing your ears at this moment? The answer to that question really is my friends. I've been very fortunate over the last couple years to meet musicians from all over the world, not only here in Miami, not only in Asbury Park, but in places and bars all across this country. Through that experience, I've cataloged a nice amount of these folks' music to listen to in an unbelievable playlist that I plan to share with you over the next 3 weeks. Now, ironically enough, during this pandemic, what the community needs now more than ever is the community. One of the things I've learned about music is that there's nothing quite like music to bring people together. The relationships that I've formed, the friends that I've made, the people I call brothers and sisters, a lot of that came from music, and I hope that these songs and this playlist will be your sense of community during this rough time for everybody. I'm going to get this playlist started off with a rock and roll band, all the way from nowhere other than the Jersey Shore. Now, I discovered this group's music originally in 2014. I was trying to figure out what does the music sound like on the Jersey Shore today. I had studied legendary stories of people like Bruce Springsteen, Southside Johnny, Little Steven, just to name a few local legends in New Jersey. And I wanted to know, what does the music sound like today? And this was really my first experience of getting that sound in my head. And that record was Friends in Low Places by Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son. Now, this was my introduction to Bobby and the band's music. New Age Outlaws, Another Deadbeat Summer, Can't Stand Myself. And the thing I remember the most about those initial listening sessions is you could hear in the way that Bobby and the band played that they took what they did serious. I'm sure that Bobby was having fun, but he certainly didn't look like a casual player by any means. You knew right away to take this guy seriously. Since that time, Bobby and the Seventh Son have continued to push the envelope of sound on the Jersey Shore, with songs like Roaring Twenties, Shot in the Dark, Called It Quits, Nothing for Nothing. Bobby and the band earn the supporters one song at a time, just how it's supposed to be. I've been fortunate enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with the guys on stage at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I gotta say, there ain't nothing like playing with these guys. This is Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son with Shoulda Called You Up Last Night.
Are you worried about the weather? Are you worried about your dreams? Are you worried about the picture and what it could mean? I've been worried about you, everything you've been through. Well, there's nothing left to lose. Maybe we'll finally enjoy the view. Should've called you up. 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 Yeah, you called me, but it was never enough. Should've called you up last
I think one of the toughest parts about this pandemic for everybody is the fact that we missed out on spring and all the great things that spring provides. I know here in Miami it's the last time that we're going to have normal weather for 6 months. And then in that summer portion, we drift into humidity and misery. But even with that said, I'm sure you guys are like me and hoping that we at least get the summer out of this whole thing. The beach, the sun, and of course the great summer songs. I was invited to Bar Nancy in Calle Ocho one night a few summers ago when I was first getting into town. For those non-Miami folk, this is the legendary 8th Street towards downtown. A music friend of mine invited me to check out this female singer he'd been telling me a little bit about. She played the nylon string guitar. She carried herself with elegance and sang like she had a voice that came from a whole different generation. We were at the bar getting a drink when she started, and the first thing I remember hearing, power, power, power. Soul, passion that was literally spilling out of her in each song right onto the floor in front of us. It's been a couple years now, but from that time, I've been a fan of Mandy Maryland's music. When the world is back to spinning on its axis again, Mandy runs a show once a month at Bar Nancy, which highlights her music and the music of other locals throughout Miami. It's called Mandy and Friends, so if you're in the Miami area, I would recommend you check that out. And with the summer on our mind, let's give you another track. This is Mandy Maryland, Summer Lovin' Blues.
Summer love for you and for me. Summer love, now it's over. Like a four-leaf clover, I may never find this love again. Summer love, bring on the blue. Summer love, 'cause all I think about is you. No more sunshine, only pain. No more sunshine, 'cause I fall in love like rain. for the birds and the bees. Summer love, there's no loving left for me. No more sunshine, only pain. No more sunshine, 'cause I fall in love like rain. No more sunshine, oh no, only pain. Ain't no more sunshine, 'cause I fall in love like rain.
You know, I think now is an easy time for people to get upset at things that they're seeing and things that are happening, and frankly getting pissed off at things that just, they're not right. During this time or during any other time. A lot of folks are really surprised because of my roots in acoustic music and in folk music that I actually have a hip-hop playlist, I have an R&B playlist, I have a rap playlist. Strangely enough, for the genre that I play, a lot of the inspirations for my original music are completely on the other end of the spectrum. Tribe Called Quest, Nas, Lupe Fiasco. These are all influential, essential people in my musical story. These artists, they know how to channel frustration and desperation into action. Very similar to my folk heroes like Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie. So when I go out to shows, I'm not looking for anything specific, just something to send my mind reeling. And here in Miami, there's a handful of artists that do that for me in this category. One of those guys is Coree. The guy is simply one of the best well-rounded lyricists I've seen. But not just that, the samples in his beats and the careful selection of words combine for hard-hitting songs. This next song really challenged me to put anger and frustration in my songs into an asset and not a liability. This is Michael Coree, Mad Line.
You mean you don't trust the police?
In my business, you don't trust anybody.
They coming in with guns blazing, kick down the door and then they ransack the basement. Never had a basement, they tearing up the attic. Everywhere they go, you know they're heavy with the static. Life protector, I got no respect for someone that'll kill a kid and blame it on neglect of the parent. It's apparent that the parent is a paradigm. Apparently I'm painting a picture that's playing in your mind. You're running out of luck and running out of time. I got to get my body back to alkaline. They catching another body like all the time and end up killing them that ain't even commit a crime. And then manipulate the media. Misinformation and propaganda, they misleading you. Time and time again, I've been trying to plant the seed in you, but ignorance is bliss and you eating up what they feeding you. No, I'm just talking about statistics. Don't get it twisted. Don't try to understand what I'm trying to portray here. It's not the individual, but the system as a whole. And when you're at the point where you could have a man kill another man without any ramification or consequence, that's when you know you got a problem. Now let me start at the beginning. Now every cop's a bad cop, but some of them be sinning. Planting evidence, turn the innocent man to villain. Say that he resisted, had to find reason to kill him. Marsh. Don't think nobody's gonna miss him, except his 3 kids and brother that's still in prison. Mother trying to keep all of their children out the system, but now without the father, almost impossible mission. I get it, y'all make a decision using discretion, but disregarding the consequence and the final impression. We moved into the future, but still living in the past. If the goal is to make a change, then we dying to make it last and last. But I got to tell you, certainly not least. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the beast. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Peace, love, and overstanding. Don't think that this shit is sweet, nah. Understand that it's us against them, not us against us. UNITY, that's all we got.
Local sounds. How important are they? Well, that's not really something I can put into 2 minutes, so I'll just briefly touch on it. We all have performances that we've seen that we will never forget for the rest of our lives. These are really the performances when you see me at Churchill's open mic, running down the hallway corridor to grab a buddy to hear a performer that's on stage. These are the moments when you nudge your buddy, you connect eyes from across the room and start nodding in unison. That's exactly how I saw this next performer. He was visiting family here in Miami, but was living in London, going to school and performing on the circuit over there. Let me give you the image real fast. I remember this guy. He's wearing dark pants, dark blazer, white dress shirt, and a bolo tie in 95-degree weather in the corridor outside the green room at Churchill's. This was a committed man, clearly. He had long hair, a beard, and I knew that if this guy could stand the heat in a bolo tie and a blazer in the middle of Miami summer, he was going to be a killer. A few moments later, the guy got on stage, and as soon as he started, I nudged Amber Johnny to my right, and I said, are you seeing this guy? Are you listening to this guy right now? I mean, right away, authentic sound, a voice that really takes you to a whole different place. In songs like Rolling Thunder, I can literally feel his voice digging in the gravel and finding the true soul in the song and in the character he portrays in it. Since that night, Enrique and his music was immediately adopted into our lives here in Miami. This is just a small anecdote of how important local sounds are not only to the community, but to our lives, you know. Our lives are better off, I believe, for having guys like this playing music for us, the people. His band is called Sunflower Ashes. This is Enrique Cesar with Skeletons.
Lay me down in a bed, ease my head, put it to rest. Let me down, satisfied, leave me here or here to die. I see it clear, clear as day. I die alone, and that's okay, 'cause I'm a body and a living soul who's got no heart, I don't know where to go. And the bones pile up every minute or so. Each day they whisper and my skin grows cold. They remind me one day whether I'll be young and old. Oh, I know I won't see the sunshine no more. Michael Kors sinking to the ground, into the earth, never to be found. That dirt and mud will cover my eyes, and I'll be blind, like I'm alive unkind. 'Cause I was free, and I will shout, so let me out, never hear a sound. 'Cause I lost my voice, strange chords to try, 'cause I was always screaming to then lose my life. And the bones pile up every minute or so. Each day they whisper and my skin grows cold. They remind me one day whether I'll be young and old. Oh, I know I won't see the sunshine no more. I will scream, and I will shout to let me out, never hear a sound. 'Cause I lost my voice, strange chords to stride, 'cause I was always screaming, did I lose my life? And the phones pile up every minute or so. Each day they whisper at my scheme grows cold. They remind me one day whether I'll be young and old. Though I know I won't see the sunshine no more.
So ironically enough, the same night that I met Enrique, I met this next gentleman. He was featuring at open mic, but I don't believe that we had met in person before that. Somebody that I can't recall was telling me about him and his music a decent amount of time before we met. I had also seen his name on similar bills as I was playing at the time, places like Tea and Poets and Coral Gables and stuff for backroom sessions as well. When I think about this next performer, one story jumps to my mind about Ryan B. About 4 months ago, I was returning from my winter tour up east, and I drove 2 straight nights to get back for Churchill's Monday night. As some of you might recall, there were a lot of folks there that night. It was a long one, and I was beaten down. But one of my fondest memories of the night was being surprised to see Ryan there. Our busy music schedules don't always allow us to see each other as often as we would like. But that night, we stood in the back, surrounded by cigarette smoke and all the other antics that are Churchill's, and we played guitar, I played harmonica, and we sang with one another. About a month and a half ago, Ryan sent me this song, and it immediately reminded me what I love about Ryan's music. His songs are realistically optimistic. They aren't just trying to be something they're not. They're not trying to play by the rules. They actually stand for something, and at the same time, they make you feel good. Isn't that really what music's all about? When you strip away all the words I could say about it, I just go back to that. Ryan's music makes you feel good. And we could all use, I'm sure, a reason to feel good right now. This is Ryan B. Never Let Go.
Silence is golden when I'm with you.
powerful women. Our scene here in Miami is filled with women who frankly kick ass. Booking shows myself and, hosting open mic, I've had a chance to see more acts than I could possibly ever remember, unfortunately. But certain acts, when you think about their performance or you see their name, you know what they're about. I got to give a nod of recognition to my good friend, Alberto Flamini, who is a drummer from Mackay, the original Jones Band, and a Tahoe's. Alberto is the guy on the scene that whenever I see him, he's always telling me about somebody new, or he's introducing me to folks in the community that he thinks I should know. So far, he's batting 1,000. Alberto is the guy who told me about this next artist. Based on his suggestion and his confidence, I booked this next performer without ever hearing her play a note on the guitar. Her night happened to be a busy one. She was very quiet, I remember, in our first meeting. But I like to think that now we have a great camaraderie between one another. That night, on the back patio, she rose to the stage with, I believe, a Stratocaster, which definitely made me a fan right away. And she just sang so beautifully and melodically in between ringing out guitar notes. She had a certain peace I could see being on stage, and by the end of the whole thing, the crowd was really jelly in her hands. Her voice covers so much space on her songs. In Ryley Smith's songs, her voice almost cuts through a dark forest or something like that. You can feel it coming for you. And here it is, Ryley Smith with Honey.
Move with it, I want it better. Move with it, I let you have it. If grooving, it's like honey in my hands. I wanna see you dancing and move with it, I want it better. It's like honey in my hands, yeah. Move with it, let you have it. If you're grooving, it's like honey in my hands. It's like honey in my hands, yeah. You want it 'cause I got it on the low. Deep in distance, you already know. I'ma move with it, I let you have it. Groove with it, your honey in my hands. I'ma pick you up and take you to the show. Backstage, grooming, moving to the flow. I lose it, your honey in my hands. I lose it, breathe you out and breathe you in again, and hold it, your honey in my hands. Your honey in my hand.
So the topic I want to talk about now is the one-man band. To be honest with you, I was really late to the game in discovering, the whole musical category just up until a couple years ago when I moved to Miami. I'm talking about folks like Uncle Scotchy, Chris Mullins of the Mojo Hands, Lone Wolf One-Man Band, just to name a few. And these guys basically, they do everything in the performance. They play drums, they play guitar, they play slide, they play harmonica, and most of the times I see a bell on their foot as well. You know, these guys, they do more stuff at once than I can imagine. Playing harmonica and guitar at the same time is tough enough for me. I remember there was a one-man band show on the main stage at, once again, Churchill's, which is a name I'm aware has come up a few times. I've been wanting to see a live show of this next artist for about a month, but I was waiting for him to come down from Boynton Beach to play. This was the night. I remember standing to the left of the stage by the bar, and through the side door this guy walked through. Slick back hair like Danny Zuko, black blazer, leather dress shoes, and I want to say pinstripe pants. I believe we might have spoken a couple words that night, and I want to say I introduced myself right before the show. Moments later, he got on stage, and he took the audience back immediately. He took them back to that real authentic sound of where his inspirations had come before him. I like to say in life and in music, we can't forget that we are always standing on someone else's shoulders. Matchstick Johnny, he understands that, and you can hear that within 30 seconds of listening to him play. He is blues music in its purest form, a guy that understands that before the Beatles blew up the world on Ed Sullivan in 1964, they were inspired by Chuck Berry and Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, just to name a few. I've had the pleasure of seeing him probably about 10 times since that night in 2018, and the guy keeps getting sharper. A prime example of a guy who really is the guy in the songs that he sings. This track is from his record, Grave Robber. This is Matchstick Johnny doing Win Stewart in Glenn Glenn's 1958 song, One Cup of Coffee and a Cigarette.
Well, one cup of coffee and a cigarette, waiting on the gal that I love the best. Seems like a year since I seen her face. So sweet lips, I can't wait to taste. I'm waiting on my baby, she ain't here yet. Cup of coffee and a cigarette. I'll cry if she don't show up. The tears are gonna fall into the coffee cup. The cigarette smoke's all getting in my eyes. That's not the reason that I had to cry. One cup of coffee and a cigarette. I'm waiting on my baby, she ain't here yet. One cup of coffee and a cigarette.
So I'm always the first one to say it. What are the odds? A guy like me that plays acoustic, storyteller, folksy stuff, including obscure original music, lyric drunk tunes even, and loves playing a good cover, would ever be able to have any artistic connection at all to Miami, Florida? People that aren't from Miami have a difficult time believing me sometimes when I tell them about the great community of acoustic players and singer-songwriters we have here. Some of the best singer-songwriters I've seen in any of my travels, I've met here in Miami. I've been lucky enough to meet a handful of guys that I immediately connected with because we were essentially doing the same thing, telling stories in a voice or character in our songs. Guys like Jess Cantley and Mike Esses, those were the guys for me. But the guy that really shook all three of us was this next guy. I remember he came to open mic one night without his guitar. He stood in the back just watching. We spoke for a brief moment. He told me he was from Nebraska. We shared some stories about being out west, and he told me he was interested in playing. I believe he came back the next week, and I remember it was another busy night, and he opened with Maybe It's Time from A Star Is Born. And in our eyes, you know, a star really was born that night watching Ben play. The next song was an original. He spoke of summers in Chicago and winters by the ocean. This was the type of writing and the impact I was looking to have in my own music, and it was happening to me right then. For the next few weeks, me and Jess Cantley listened to this guy's music non-stop, and we wore out his albums Fathers and Sons and Slow Exit, songs like John Wayne, Talk to Me of God. These songs showed me that Ben had brought the sound and the story of the storyteller to Miami. He brought the sounds of the West, and he brought a voice that was truly his very own. Since that time, from 2018, we spent 9 months of last year with a residency together in downtown Brickell at Bond Eatery and Winery. And he's a guy that even after probably close to 65 to 70 shows together, I never get tired of hearing my good brother, Ben Moats. This is Never Heard You Say.
I saw you first when I was dreaming. Then on that bridge you started breathing. On to the sacred places we've been, with the feeling you get when you know. No, I never heard you say you believe it, and I haven't found the days to believe it, but to break even and go. What did you dream as I was reeling? It stormed in our house, but you kept sleeping. And I nearly drowned as you were leaping by the week's ending side when you'd go. No, I've never heard you say you believe it, and I haven't found the days to believe it, but to break to break even for once and go.
My mother told me recently, enjoy what you can during this time. You will look back at it differently. And maybe she's right. Possibly I will. Only the future can tell these type of things, but what I have learned is what time means to me during this process. I realize that it really is true. Time tells all. What decisions we make and how they impact us sometimes aren't immediately seen or felt. You just have to let it ride. I gotta be honest, I'm in a phase of this quarantine that the days, they aren't dragging by anymore. Days are now going by to the point where we don't even know what day it is. What's the best way to fill the days? What's the best way to fill the time? For me, it's been being in the studio, spending time with my love, Danny, my 2 dog children, Charlie and Millsy, assessing what you have and realizing that your life is good. Sometimes, I'm just speaking from personal experience, things can get so dark at times that you begin to believe that is how your life is and that's what you're meant for. So if you do find happiness and fulfillment, will you accept it or will you self-sabotage yourself? These are the type of questions I ask myself that sometimes leads to a good song and sometimes just into too much thinking. Here is some music about time. This is a very talented man. This is a very talented guitar player. In my opinion, one of Miami's finest at really being able to just tap into a whole nother dimension when he starts playing. An inside comment we have amongst a few of us is, well, if we could only play guitar like this guy. Here is an instrumental track by my good friend Andre Carvajal called Time. So I like to go. I almost always have the traveler's musician's itch. I'm always interested in the next journey. I spent most of my life growing up traveling around the country in an RV, a race car hauler, a camper van, you name it. My dad was a professional dirt racer, and I definitely got this gene from him. I grew up listening to songs like Take It Easy, Peaceful Easy Feeling, On the Road Again, Highway 61. These were the songs of the road while we were on the road. So I stood absolutely no chance of, not having this be my life. Now as a musician, it's a part of the DNA. I love the road. I've had a history definitely of going, especially the last few years of my life. But I've learned during this forced stop that you can't always go. Part of being a man and growing up is staying and establishing. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it, I've learned. It's easy to go. It's not always so easy to stay. During this quarantine, I was digging through my notebook for my new record, and I came across this song that I wrote the music for a while back. And I wrote lyrics a few months later, and it was sitting about 80% finished. I was really fishing for some finishing lines, and I began to think about everything that's been going on to everybody during this quarantine. How hard some folks have been knocked down. Some are trying to get back up, and some, unfortunately, never will. That's when it came to me. A line that really symbolizes what I want my music to be about. A line to represent right now the best way I can. When the going gets hard, girl, we gotta get up. We have got to get up. I want to thank my good friends Ambori Johnny and Nay Rose and my love Danny Reyes for helping me to make this song beautiful in the studio. I want to thank you for your beautiful talents. And I want to thank all of you out there for the great response so far and all the love that we've got on the song. I look forward to playing it for you live as soon as this thing is all over. But for now, this is the second single off my upcoming record. This is Gone.
Cigarettes from an old Cuban man. Life's gone by too fast these days. The longest hard, girl, we gotta get up. Every time I try to leave, I stay. So hold on tight, girl, the night is still young. Drank so much that my fingers are numb. Played myself and I played you too. Hoping tonight that we'll make it through. Cause you can't get with the going till the going is gone. If you can't get with the times, they'll surely pass you by. Cause you can't get with the going till the going is gone. Until it's gone, until it's gone. Gotta say goodbye cause it's killing me quick. A glass of wine and one more smoke. Lately I've been feeling you slipping away. I hope I'm not the butt of the joke. Be there for you now. Cause hope is all that we got in our hands. And I hope you see the day someone like you will
gone.
We are down to our final song of episode 1, and I wanted to end things off with a bang. This last artist of the night is a guy I really saw with my own eyes blossom out of open mic with insanely hard work ethic, discipline like I've rarely seen, and the first guy, besides myself and McDonald Wolf, of course, to arrive at Open Mic Mondays for a long time. All of the end of 2018 and almost all of 2019, I saw this guy every Monday night as practically one of the first people. He would show up early, practice, work. He wanted to make sure that when the time came to perform, that he was ready. Any audience of any type, big or small, is not to be taken for granted, which I think is a lesson we're all learning right now, seeing as how we're performing virtually for people these days. Punkowski never takes the opportunity for granted, I've learned. His hard work with his content, not only on his music, but on his social media platforms, and his desire to be a real leader in the community during this time has shown me once again a whole other elevation in my book of this man. He is a proof of concept for artists just getting started on the scene to see that hard work, being a solid dude, making good music, and staying consistent, it pays off. Songs like My Catastrophe, Storyliners, Chest Press, Half a Story Hurts. If you want to mosh, even in a small group, this is your guy. Here is Punkowski with Purchase Purpose.
They purchase such pretty purpose, this noise will destroy us. I'm afraid I've got no room for blood, 'cause the poison is already forcing its way into my veins. They purchase such pretty purpose, this noise will destroy us. I'm afraid I've got no room for blood, 'cause the poison is already forcing its way into my veins. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is that they are not real. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is that they are not real. I'll fill this cup with my tears and say 3 cheers to 3 more years, or some other half-wit, half-written, replayed cliche. I guess they love the way that fiction feels. It's so reoccurring, unwarped webs and orange peels. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is that they are not real. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is that they are not real. I wrote a story down and now I'm gonna live it. You plug your tones into the notes that I have written, and I will plagiarize my life until it's finished. I wrote a story down and now I'm gonna live it, and I will be my favorite character in it, and all my fake friends become real in it, yeah. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is that they are not real. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is that they are not real. I have too many fake friends, and when I say fake friends, what I mean is they are not real. I have too many fake friends,
was Punkowski with Purchase Purpose. I want to thank everybody for listening to episode 1 of this limited edition underground playlist podcast, Local Sounds. I'm your host, Taylor Davis. Tonight, you guys heard Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son, Shoulda Called You Up Last Night, Mandy Maryland's Summer Lovin' Blues, Michael Coree with Mad Lion, Enrique Cesar and Sunflower Ashes performing Skeletons, Ryan B, Never Let Go, Ryley Smith with Honey, Matchstick Johnny, One Cup of Coffee and a Cigarette, Ben Moats, Never Heard You Say, Andre Carvajal with Time, myself with Gone, and Punkowski with Purchase Purpose. If you like any of this music, please add it to your playlist. Right now, the musicians and the artists could use your support more than ever. We look forward to joining you next week for episode 2 of this limited edition podcast, Local Sounds. Once again, I'm your host, Taylor Davis. We look forward to bringing you more underground music from my friends across the world. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Stay safe.